Guitars, that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5 in the Evil P Network Rumble. Maybe on tape on YouTube and X, all that good stuff. What a weekend we had. Hopefully you all enjoyed it and got to unwind a little bit, because Monday comes around way too quick and we got to deal with the reality of life on that. Some of the things, more election fraud, more hospice fraud, more voter registration fraud, even more shenanigans alleged at the Riverside County Registrar of Voters office coming down the pike. Tom Steyer, the $2 billionaire, claims poverty, among other things. Ashley Zavala caught him on her great Politics 360 show. Great John Flashman of So Does It Matters has a good article out on how your California politicians up and down the board party hardy on your dime. How they finance their junkets when they're pointing a gun at you and taking the money out of your pocket so they can live a life of luxury. We'll have more in that report and many, many others. But lead story of the day. Gotta love Doug Ford. He's the mayor of the Ontario province, in Canada no less. He says congratulations to the homeowner who shot the alleged home invader. There is a few common sensors in Canada, even though they have been making maybe even a turn as bad as California in the kook left department. But Doug Ford said it like it should be. We need more mayors and public officials to say it. Let's hear from the great Doug Ford. Here we go.
As for the person that was defending his family, he was a legal gun owner, stored properly, congratulations. Yeah, I'm glad you shot the guy. Teaches the rest of these robbers, and I encourage everyone out there that's a legal gun owner. Someone's going to come in and try to kill you and kill your family. Remember, it was just last.
There should be no other way to look at it. I don't know if California's changed. No lawyer gave legal advice, so don't go on my say-so. But it used to be in California. If someone broke in, forcible entry into your home, you had the right to take their life. But you didn't have to ask questions or have, well, you know, what? Oh, why did you bust my door down and come in here, Mr. Criminal, holding a 12-gauge shotgun? No, you could take care of it. You are under threat. Now, of course, there's all sorts of, we went tutti frutti around here. Can you imagine Ulysses Baby Jesus Cabrera, mayor of Moreno Valley, saying something like this? Or Exton Gutierrez when he was mayor, or on the Board of Supervisors. Come on, dudes, have some frickin' balls like Mr. Ford.
Week, Jamie, one guy got shot because he was trying to protect his kids. Well, these guys, they need to be shot, as far as I'm concerned. You're coming through the front door to hurt your family. I'll never forget
Somebody busts your door down, blows through the window, whatever. Or your daughter's bedroom. We've had the reports on that. You don't got time. You shouldn't. You should be under no obligation, in my view, my opinion. Be asking any questions or nothing. You have the right. You should have the right to use whatever force necessary to eliminate that threat. Period. Full stop. End of story. Use all these little euphemisms like gay boy Gavin does and all that, trying to get, they try to goad you into conforming to this stupidity of like de-arming yourselves Only the cops need guns and all this crap. More from Mr. Ford.
The one family that the man was protecting his 4-year-old kid and his child, I should say, and there was 3 other children there and his wife, and they assassinated him right in front of his kids. Like, these ruthless, like, they need to rot in jail for the rest of their lives.
No, they need to be hung in the public square. And that's what gets when you're hesitating. When you're in a situation like that and you're dealing with thugs and thieves or whacked out of their mind on drugs or whatever the deal is. Oh, because of this, oh, we can't do anything. You know, his poor little kids had to watch him get murdered. But no, we don't have no compassion for them. We got to protect the criminal.
Congratulations for shooting this guy. Should have shot him a couple more times as far as I'm concerned.
Now there's a guy with balls. Congratulations for shooting the home invader. Should have shot him a couple more times to make damn sure he was dead. We need more stepping up, standing behind a John Deere loader in an old tin building, saying it like it is.
And everyone should be out there, legal gun owners. And by the way, the federal government, they're spending so much time on going after legal, law-abiding gun owners that safely store their guns, safely store their ammunition, their hunters or their sport shooters. I have an idea. Rather than wasting hundreds of millions of dollars going after legal gun owners, why don't you spend that hundreds of millions of dollars going after the bad guys? You know, they always want to...
What a concept. Law enforcement dollars used for enforcing the law, not going after innocent people. But why are we even talking? It's out of control we're even talking about this.
Protect the bad guys. The judges always want to protect the Charter of Rights. How about the Charter of Rights of the people to keep...
Yes. What about our rights to live in peace, to live in harmony, and to be able to deal with an immediate threat to us or our families in our own homes? Oh, but we gotta protect the whacked out of his mind, crackhead, fentanyl fiend who's trying to steal your stuff so he can sell it for half a cent on the dollar to degrade the community even further and take innocent lives. No, we're not taking out the right people, in my opinion, and Mr. Ford's exactly right.
them safe rather than always protecting these criminals. I'm just sick and tired of it. And I can tell you, folks, I talk to a lot of people. I get 1,000 calls. I'm not exaggerating, 1,000 calls and messages a day. People are done with this. They're done with all these crazy protesters and nasty people and breaking into homes and stealing cars. We all grew up.
This, I hope he's accurate on this. I hope a majority of people are finally saying we're done. Prop 36, maybe in California, was another hopeful sign. Although we have tutti fruities here in California, like Gay Boy Gavin, who sits there and just runs off at does every opportunity to make your family unsafe, to back up the criminals, to turn San Quentin into a country club for crackheads.
Here, did we experience this 10 years ago? No, we never experienced this. People in Toronto never experienced this. I'm guessing about 5 years ago, you know, people just were so brazen because we have some great judges, but we have some really weak-kneed judges letting these criminals out on bail, not once, not twice, 4 or 5 times, just to go, okay, Johnny, go out and break into the next house.
See, this isn't just a California deal. It's spread through, and not only is the cancer of California affecting the other 49 states, it's affecting Canada and Mexico and the rest of the world.
They're violent criminals, and we're going to hold them to account. And thank you for getting me going, Jamie, because, but it's the truth. What I'm saying, a vast majority of the people are thinking in the province. I can assure you of that.
I hope he's right. I hope he's 111% right on that. I hope everybody's finally, the majority have finally had enough of this stupidity. Three cheers for Mr. Ford. Protect Ontario. We need to protect the United States of America. We definitely need to protect California. We have that chance coming up. A little over 2 months, the election, the June primaries are going to be on. We're going to move the top two out. Hopefully we get our ass together and it's Steve or Chad. Then we'll see if we can straighten the rest of this stuff out in November. It's imperative we do so. And we got to stop, especially, and I'm talking to men, the few that are left. And we got to convince the others to stop talking like women on an emotional basis. Talk like Mr. Ford. Yeah, should have, the homeowner should have shot him a couple more times just to make darn sure he was dead. And to send a message to the next a-hole that thinks he's going to pull this crap. Oh no, you're going to wind up in the same fate. This is what we got to deal with. And we better start dealing with it honestly. No more stupidity, no hiding in the corner, no thinking somebody else is going to take care of it or do it. Just get out there, get after it, and get the job done. We'll get into more of we need the real. What happened to the real Donald J? Some of the election fraud and all the other fun stuff coming up in the rest of the hour. Yes, it is. I want to get to that point. I want the real Donald J. Trump back. Went back to this clip during the campaign. It's Donald Trump on Lindsey Graham. Here we go.
Let Russia drop. For instance, this guy, Lindsey Graham. You have a guy, he's one of the dumbest human beings I've ever seen. He runs against me, okay? He runs against me for president. He starts off at 6%, and he hits me. And I start, although I did give out his phone number, I mean, that's really good. But anyway, he starts hitting me, saying vicious things, and now he starts going down. He goes to 5%, 4%. He ends up at zero. Here's a guy running for the presidency. He's at zero. He leaves in disgrace, in my opinion. I think he's disgraced. He comes here. He thinks this is going to be good. He had like 2 points here, and I had 42, right? I was at 42. He's a sitting United States Senator from South Carolina. He's at 2%. I saw him on television this morning, and I think he lost it. He's saying, Donald Trump, he couldn't even talk. He was shaking. The hatred. They say, what do you think of Donald Trump? Oh, he went crazy. The guy is a nut job. I mean, and honestly, I don't want his endorsement. I don't want anything to do with him. And his thinking, he says, I know so much. He knows about the military. I could push him over with a little thimble. Boom.
Can we get this Donald Trump back? Who's kidnapped him? Now he's golfing with Lindsey Graham. We're over in this deal in Iran. We're worrying about the Strait of Hormuz. Well, why didn't you have a plan? That should have been the first thing you went after. Okay, we're seizing control of this. Not war crazy Lindsey now. You're buddy with him, and he said, "I'll let you know, Lindsey, we're going to bomb everybody." This is what we elected right here. And again, we need the real Donald J. back.
I look at a guy like Lindsey Graham, then I hear his theory on the war. You'll be in there forever. You'll be in there, and you'll end up starting World War III with a guy like that, too. We don't want World War III over Syria, okay? We don't want world. Do we agree with that? We don't want World War. But I watched him on Fox today.
We don't want World War III. And if there's not a clear objective, like I said, okay, you're taking out their nuclear deal, whatever you're doing, but there should have been a plan right off the get-go to get control of the Strait of Hormuz. That's the big deal. Now, what, we're 3 weeks, it was only going to be 3 or 4 days, we're going to have this, and maybe a couple weeks in a month. Well, you're almost out of the month, Donald J. Now you backed up on bombing the other oil and power plants. Well, we're giving them another 5 days. They're saying we didn't negotiate. I mean, I don't know. If you're going on that crack, that if you're going to say you're going to take them out, then take them out. Not that I'm necessarily in favor of that, but don't threaten and back up. That's worse than doing nothing at all.
I have never seen a guy I don't think I've ever seen a guy so totally out of control. They mentioned my name. He went literally crazy this morning. So he got out of the race, Bill. He was at, is this correct? He was at zero. And he still didn't want to get out of the race. You know, I often say these guys that are zero, why do they stay? Wouldn't you I think I'd crawl in a corner and I'd hide. I would just sort of put out a release. I've left the race. I wouldn't even give a news conference. I'd be too embarrassed. But anyway, I think he's a disgrace. I think Lindsey Graham is a disgrace, and I think you have one of the worst representatives of any representative in the United States, and I don't think he should run. I don't think in this state, remember, I was at 42 and he was at 2 when he was running. In this state I'm talking about. He was at 0 nation. I mean, the guy was at 0 nationwide. I don't think he could run for dog catcher in this state and win again. I really don't.
Let's hope he doesn't. There's a new poll based on the Rasmussen methodology, new company, some polls, that has Lindsey Graham at only 41%. Mark Lynch, I think, at 21%, and Paul Dan's at 11%. Well, that's another one where if you don't get 50%, it's like Texas, they're going to go to a runoff. So if this new Rasmussen base, Pulse, whatever it is, company's poll is anywhere close to accurate, looks like it's going to be a runoff between Lindsey Graham and Mark Lynch. I don't know that much about Mark Lynch. A little bit about Paul Dan's. He was pretty much MAGA, but that's getting hard to compute anymore. But I know one thing. I'm ready to roll the dice on anybody but Lindsey. Well, I have been. I've never liked Lindsey Graham. He's a warmonger. He doesn't know what the crap he's talking about. And I don't really care if he's a Peter Puffer, what he's doing in his personal crap. I don't really give a crap. He's a neocon establishment hack. His policies are bad, and I'm trying to be nice. He needs to go. Just like Cornyn. Hopefully Paxson beats him out. Since Trump hasn't even made an endorsement yet, it's almost too late to have much of an effect. Most everybody, and I think this might be why Trump backed up on the Cornyn endorsement, that Susie Q and Chris Levitica, the big political team, were pushing. They were pushing Cornyn hard, trying to pressure Paxton out of the race. Most people even around the political scene in down Texas think Cornyn ain't got a chance to beat Paxton in the runoff, even if Trump endorses him at this point. Maybe his odds go up from 1 in 10 to 1 in 9 or 8, slightly. But we need to get rid of these old stupids out of there, on both parties. Chucky Schumer, these guys have been around too long, John Thune, they're all over the place. Chris Murphy, these guys got to go. But like this, we need the real Donald Trump back. The one we elected, the one that said Lindsey Graham was a POS. And let's get to the MAGA agenda that we voted for. We only want legal immigrants. Don't want illegal immigrants. We want law and order. We want our country secure. We want our economy flourishing. We want our standard of living going up. I get the threat of this and that, and if there is, then explain to us what the threat is and the plan of how we are. Don't need to do the details. But if you explain to the American people, this is why let's just use the Iran example with the nuclear weapons thing, because we're all gun shy of the George W. Bush and Colin Powell and weapons of mass destruction, and we were there for 20 years. Finally, it looks like we got pulled out of the whole Middle East fandango, and now we're getting dragged back in. Like with the Joe Kent resignation letter, my information mostly, I believe what Joe Kent was saying was correct. Now, I get the part of Trump being pissed off about people leaking. And I've been on both sides of this equation, but this is my philosophy. Yeah, if somebody gives me documents or leaks me information, I either verify it or have the documents. That's not me. I cannot control what other people do. But if you're on my team or I'm doing it, and I'm on that, I get pissed off about people leaking information from my company, my political side, my whatever dealing I'm doing with. You know, and my philosophy is if you want to quit and you're no longer on my team, then it's Katie barred the door, then go for it. So if Joe Kent was leaking information to Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or whomever, I believe Trump has a legitimate right to be pissed off about that. On the other hand, if the leaked information Joe Kent had was correct, he needs to answer a lot of questions on what the F is going on here. And why are we making this big turn of all things? And I use this because the Lindsey Graham thing is a great example. When they were running against each other for president, he's calling him nothing but a POS. Now he's golfing with him, greatest buddy. Lindsey Graham's out there beating the war drums on the Sunday shows and all that. So hopefully they will let the real Donald Trump, I don't know, let's get into the conspiracy theories, tinfoil hats. I don't know if they've kidnapped him or what, you know, whatever the deal is, you know, whether he's under threat or doing this. I mean, we can all speculate on it. Most of us are not going to really know. All I care about is we get back to the original the original themes Trump campaigned on, Agenda 47, and let's just implement them. Is if you do, 98.7% of us are going to be fine. It's making these 180 veers off the track that had a lot of people that were supporting you, Donald J., jumping off the bandwagon, and that's not good. We got a heck of a situation going on. If we turn this all back plus in 2026 and then 2028, man, we're going to be in a heap of trouble. And I'm trying to be nice. We need to get to the point of getting back on track. Let's hope that this happens very quickly. Because if the rest of the nation gets the $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 a gallon gas and diesel, man, we're gonna be begging for the Joe Biden inflation days. You're gonna see the Jimmy Carter fiasco from 76 to 80. And having lived through that, and I was just coming online with getting my driver's license in 77 when the price went from 30 cents a gallon to 60. And the gas lines and the rationing and all the BS. And the prices jumping and interest rates to buy at home at 21%. That dang near killed us then. Reagan came in 8 years, pretty straightened a lot of it out. Since Poppy Bush, we've been retreating. We've had a little bit of retrieve from Trump 1, now 2.0. Now Trump's backtracking. We can't have that. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon yet. I'm not panicking. But we need to start steering the ship back on course so we can all put a big smile on our face and look for a brighter future. The trial court judge in the Eric Swalwell, he doesn't live in California, ruled and said, well, yes, he does, or the paperwork ain't bad on that. And I told you the whole fiasco. That's, in my opinion, even though they were trying to push it off, and they got this Republican guy to do it, that was being pushed by the Democrats. They wanted Swalwell out to try to consolidate the field. And mainly Tom Steyer. Well, I think the evidence is showing that. But I was pretty confident. I would have been raising my eyebrows if they would have said Swalwell can't run. So it looks like he's going to be on the ballot. Good. I'm glad Mahan's starting to crack a few commercials and get out there because he's down at 3%. He's going to do, hopefully he does like a Tom Steyer. Well, he goes 3 to 12. That's just going to further splinter the Democratic field where you've got Steyer, you got Katie Porter, and you got Swalwell, all in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13%. Well, I really don't see Matt Mahan grabbing any votes from Steve or Chad. He's mostly going to cannibalize it from the Democratic 60% pool, which is good. As long as we need Tony Villar in there, we need Thurman, Javier Baccaria, Betty Yee. We need the Icky Eight to all stay in and campaign hard till June 2nd. And then hopefully the Steve and Chad come out in the top two. And then, oh, what a fun election it will be in California going into November. Like I said, people are now, everyone in the political circles is talking about it. Remember, a year ago, everybody said it was crazy. Never happened. Oh, you got the tinfoil hat on. What? You're retarded. You don't know what you're talking about. And to do that, even on Paul Mitchell's deal, it's 3 times more likely. It is now they're threatening. Oh well, if you don't get behind one Republican, you're going to get 2 Democrats. Well, okay. If you get one versus the other, Democrat versus Republican, you're getting a Democrat. So, you either win this, top 2 in June. This is where we win it. Split the votes evenly between Steve and Chad. Whatever it is, 20, 22%. If we can gain some more, that just puts us that much further ahead. It means they got to pedal harder to get there. And again, I don't see Mahan as being that dynamic a figure. So we shall see. Want to touch on the election fraud. New Anthony from Mudraker caught this new guy out here. We go.
Hey, don't touch his camera. Do not touch his camera. How many of the signatures that you guys gather are paid for with cigarettes? So where are you going, man? Frank is your name? We want to know. So you've been in this country, you told me, for 2 years, and this is what... Hey, do not touch me. Do not touch me. Don't get too close to me.
Exposing California election fraud. And so much so it is. Now we have a new guy coming up out of the country in California rolling this in. Here we go.
Investigation. We exposed that many of the signatures used to put new laws on the ballot may have been gathered fraudulently.
All you got to do is just say money for a signature.
Money for a signature.
You can lie. Say this is to build more homeless shelters.
Oh, just make up some bullshit.
Yeah.
With so many ballot petition circulators blatantly violating the law in broad daylight, we wanted to know, who are these people working for? We discovered that there are numerous independent companies doing petition circulation work across the city of Los Angeles. We were able to get a job interview with an LA-based company called Urban Signers. What we uncovered connects this scandal to something far larger than we expected.
Yes, hi.
Okay, hi.
Urban Signers?
Yes.
Are you Priscilla?
Urban Signers. Urban Signers.
I'm Priscilla.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Meet Frank Tessimo, founder and CEO of Urban Signers. Tessimo previously led a Swiss signature collection firm called Incop. In 2024, Swiss media reported allegations that Incop submitted large numbers of invalid or allegedly forged signatures for nationwide ballot initiatives.
In Switzerland. In Switzerland. So here's more on his interview.
So we get as many signatures as required, valid signatures.
Okay.
And it gets on the ballot.
Well, the reason I found out about this because on Skid Row, some people were saying, hey, I'll pay you $1 or give you a cigarette if you put your name here.
Okay, so
They was giving out incentives. That's like
So,
you said I give you
Yeah,
$1.
yeah, incentives, yeah.
if somebody
incentives. If it ain't cash, it's a cigarette or what?
let's say somebody's hungry, they say I need food before I can sign, you give them food.
Let's say like this is $5 or something a signature, right? And let's say I say, hey, I'll pay you $2 if you give me a signature. Are you guys? Is that
No,
okay?
We wouldn't even know unless you tell us.
Just so I'm clear, you guys have people, for example, that'll go out and let's say they're making $7 a signature. You're cool. You're cool if I'm like, hey, I'll pay you $2 if you sign here.
It's okay, that's between you and those people.
It's okay. It's okay. We're from Uganda, Switzerland. Holy Moses and crap. Cam Higby's been out. He's got a new video. They're coming in like missiles bombing Iran. This is what we should be doing. Trump, this is what we should be concentrating on. Let's get the election fraud rolled out of the United States first. We need to fix this stuff here first. We need to get the laws rewritten where somebody makes a forcible entry into your home. You have every right to use lethal force on them. No, you don't have to ask them any questions or have anything. It's just kaboom, you're dead. Like the homeowner in Canada, and we need mayors in there to go out and say, yeah, not only should you have done that, you should have shot him a couple more times, make sure he was damn dead. It's very, 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 very concerning that seems to not be our number one focus. Can you imagine if Trump was going on and blasting this every day instead of what we're doing in Iran or whatever? This is where the concentration should be. Hopefully, we will get our S together, and there will be no more of this, or we're going to turn course, and we're going to get the Trump back. Like we had, like the one that said Lindsey Graham was a POS. Instead of out golfing or training or whatever.
Less than a minute, Roy.
You got it. As Sean said, we'll be joining the My Team at KMET here in a few seconds. Pick up with some of the rest of the themes of the Supreme Court rulings. How the California politicians are partying hardy on your dime.
30 seconds.
And everything else that's going on. And hopefully we need to put more pressure on Trump to get the Trump back, like we ran in the first part of the segment. To do, and that, like, concentrate on what's going on here. Call out Lindsey Graham like...
Here we go, 10 seconds.
And roll with the best hillbilly hoedown around.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky live guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 in the Mighty Met, 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the 4-inch AM band. Join your vast video audience, the UFB Network, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in iNewsWire, Roy Bleckert. You'll see my nice, smiling, shining face. For all you Kelly Victory fans, she's off this week. She will be back, hopefully, next week. And we'll get her great insights into everything as we usually do. Then... first thing off the bat, and go check out today's broadcast. The first segment and two, everyone needs, I believe, to see. Doug Ford, Canada, Mayor Providence, up there. He congratulated a resident who shot a home invader breaking into his home. And he said, the dude should have shot him a couple more times. That's the attitude we need. We also need back the real Donald Trump, the one we elected. This guy, when Lindsey Graham, the odious senator from South Carolina, was running against president from him, and he's calling Lindsey Graham a POS. Trump needs to get back on track. MAGA, Agenda 47, America First. Whatever we got to, and I've said this many times, either stay the hell out of the Middle East or be prepared to wipe that whole thing into the Sahara Desert. Because this has been going on for tens of thousands of years, or whenever recorded history is. They've been fighting over there for centuries, decades, millenniums. And if they want to blow each other up, fine. They want to live in squalor, that's their business. And if you're going to go in there, none of this 20-year stuff, just level it, because that's the only way you're going to fix it. Or stay the hell out. So as long as you stay on your side of the fence, but you need to watch that clip. It's fascinating how a few years things can make abrupt changes. We also ran the Mudraker story by Anthony, another one, some guy from Switzerland with Uganda people and all that, who were allegedly getting signatures there or moved into LA under urban signers. We'll have, hopefully, maybe we'll get the Cam Higby's video up tomorrow. He's got more of it, but this is what Trump should be concentrating on. This is what we should be. This is why we need to get Steve and Chad in the top two. Again, this is from the California Legislative Analyst's Office, the nonpartisan part of our government that looks at all these numbers and budgets and prices and going up and determine and gives you statistics on budgets, what's going on. They just recently released this chart. California inflation differs from U.S. overall. Housing. We're way higher than the national average. Rent. Almost 50% higher growth rate than the national average. Homeowners equivalent rent, almost the same. Transportation off the charts. Over 4 times, 400% more inflation in California than the rest of the nation. Gasoline almost 5 times, 500%. Higher inflation in California. Food, about 20%. Apparel, well, let's call it even, just slightly on. Education, we have finally got to a point, we have ripped us, the education system, the teachers have ripped us off so bad that we're finally backed up slightly on that, on the inflation rate. After leading this for 30 years, our expenses going up way faster than anywhere else in the nation. Our cost of education, the amount we spend per student, with the essiest of results possible. This comes from the Legislative Analyst's Office of the State of California. It's not the Heritage Foundation. It's not the hated Donald Trump. It's the state of California Legislative Analyst's Office. That's their job, is to look at things like this. And they are telling you California's cost of living is going up at an accelerating rate than anywhere else. We've had the, maybe we'll see if we can get Richard Ryder back on. Haven't had him on in a while. He said he's been pointing this out and giving us the charts for years. Yeah, in raw numbers, California looks great. Most populous state, 40 million people, 12% of the population, biggest state. Yeah, you go in raw numbers, we're going to lead at practically anything. But this is like a per capita number, or per state, or comparing state versus state. This is why there's, if you're in California and you're the vast amount of people, you found out there's too much month at the end of the money. Secretary of State put the list of candidates that are qualified to run for governor. That's 62 candidates, 26 Democrats, 23 with no party affiliation, 13 Republicans, 1 Libertarian, 1 Peace and Freedom. No Green Party. And it really, as long as the main candidates stay as they are, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, center-right candidates and the Icky Eight, on the Democratic left hook side, we've got a shot. I love the graphics on John Flashman's news site, formerly the Flash Report. Now he does SoDoesItMatter.com. Vacation voting, how special interests bankroll California legislators on lavish junkets. Say it ain't so, John. I think he's making this up. When you look at all this stuff, look at how this is what the California politicians are doing for you. This is them going to the conference on Maui Beach or the French Riviera. Or the Norway trip was great, but this is even better. With the young hottie hooker or whatever they got at the time. And we keep electing these clowns back and forth. Here's John Flash. Here we go.
It's John Fleischman with SoDoesItMatter.com. All California politics, all the time. Let me ask you a very simple question. Why are California legislators flying to Maui, touring Europe, staying in luxury resorts on somebody else's dime, and then coming back and telling you they represent you? Because that's exactly what's happening, and everyone in Sacramento knows it. They call these trips policy briefings. That's the phrase. Educational travel. But let's be honest about what this really is. This is lawmakers getting flown to five-star resorts and eating gourmet meals, playing golf, sitting courtside, paid for by the exact industries and interest groups and unions they are supposed to be regulating or not regulating or negotiating with. Energy companies, labor unions, tech interests, it's you name it. Power companies, all routing money through nonprofits. It's technically legal. I say the word technically very loosely, but in the real world, this is influence buying, structured to pass the letter of the law. And this is not small. In just 1 year.
So what you have, and you pay for it, whether they do it on your taxes and they write it out through their campaigns or they're going to the conference or whatever power company, garbage company, teachers, cops, or whatever are paying for these, you paid for it because you bought that service. They had to charge you more to avoid to pay the trip for the crooked politician and the five-star hotels and the hookers on the beach. No matter how you figure it, like I said, the end consumer pays the final bill. There is no tax the rich or tax this company or that. If they are just tax collectors for the government. Please drum that through your head, through your kid's head, through your neighbor's head, through your relative's head. I don't care if it's Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner or what. They are going to hear it. And they are going to like it. And they are going to understand it so we don't have to deal with this. More from Flash.
Last year, we're talking about $1.2 million in travel, $330,000 in gifts. Nearly 120 organizations funding these trips. Maui, Pebble Beach, Europe, and one group alone, CFEE, spent over 300 grand sending lawmakers around the world.
We had Ricardo Lara, 50 grand out of the state coffers. These same trips. It goes on. It's a total freaking mess. It's astonishing. You can go check out the article, get a subscription to So Doesn't Matter. You can watch the video. He's got a lot of great content on his site. Please go check it out, because we can't. And look, if you keep voting for this, you're going to get more. More on the election stuff, a couple things. Something in the 5th Supervisor District, I'll get that out. Here in Riverside County, which is basically Moreno Valley, the Pass area, Beaumont, Banning, Cherry Valley, Calamasa, down through, I think a little bit of San Jacinto. I think it catches Paris some. Extian Gutierrez is a representative. There seems to be some questionality. 2 candidates, Eric Salter and Lisa Mehta, I think is her last name, were going to challenge Extian. They were both not qualified. There's going to be a hearing on that Friday. They're both challenging them not being put on the ballot. Again, with the Sheriff Chad doing the investigations and where are the 45,000 ballots, or what's the explanation on this, or what's been going on in the long-standing questions, allegations, and getting rid of the former Registrar of Voters, paying her $900,000 to walk out the door. This all stinks to high heaven. We'll see how this all goes. We'll see how the court rules Friday. We'll see how Sheriff Chad, now that he sees the ballots in the Prop 50 election, we'll see how the count goes. Like he said, we're out to prove, yeah, is the ROV right? Is Team Temecula right? Or what's going on here? We're going to provide some answers. That's what we should be doing. Supreme Court is indicating, this is on John Flashman's site too, and many others, but I like his graphics. Supreme Court appears ready to ban counting of ballots received after Election Day. Let's hope this comes to fruition. They need to get to pass the Save America Act, or Trump needs to get it, sign the executive order, and let's get it before the Supreme Court. Because we got to straighten this election stuff out. Lock, stock, and barrel. Speaking of barrels, look at this chart. See over in the yellow, $5 a gallon plus gas. California, 100%. Almost all of Washington. Oregon, right, bumping up against $5. And where's the highest gas and diesel in the nation? The 3 left coast states. Cheapest gas is in, then gets a little slightly as you get into Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. Cheapest gas is mostly east of the Mississippi and west of the Mississippi like from about 200 miles west of the Mississippi, Texas, Oklahoma, the Dakotas, things like that. Other than New York and Illinois and Michigan, Democratic states. Now, are you going to believe me in the other 49 states when I say don't let the cancer of California spread across your area? Oh, you were laughing heartily. Oh, the dumb Californians are paying. Well, now you dummies are getting a taste of this. More important, why you should be paying more attention to California, because they are going to affect you. I don't care if you're all the way up there in Bear, Vermont. That yellow is in your area now, because this chart's a couple weeks old. And if we don't get the real Donald Trump back, you will be begging for the day of $5 a gallon gas and diesel. And heating oil, which you guys on the East Coast depend on a lot. So let's start playing the game to win. Tom Steyer, who's running for governor, and I'm glad he is, because he's spending $100+ million to help elect Steve and Chad, hopefully, which is the way it's working out now. Cried poor mouth. And he's getting a lot of flack for it, too. Here we go. Hopefully.
What grade would you give Governor Gavin Newsom for the last 2 terms?
I don't know. Look, I
A
think,
through F.
I don't know. I think that people have come to really appreciate how Gavin has stood up.
You won't give us a grade. You
No,
won't grade him?
No, I haven't followed it closely enough to give him a grade.
That wasn't the clip I was looking for, but that was the grade one. They didn't learn from Kamala Harris when she answered, and I think this was the thing that turned the election on Kamala Harris. Went on The View, Sunny, whatever her name was, asked her, well, what would you done for different than Joe Biden? Oh, nothing. As we're even COVID con, inflation going crazy, the economy stalled. Same with Eric Swalwell. Ashley asked him, well, what would you do different? Oh, I would do, oh, no, nothing. Gavin is great. Gay boy Gavin is great. Tom Steyer, well, I don't know. I haven't been following what's going on, but you got a plan to fix it? This guy is unbelievable. Let's see if I can get the other clip up. Here we go.
It's much cheaper to be clean on climate. Climate goals, it's like, which is cheaper to run? You know,
but
renewable energy or fossil fuel energy? Renewable energy is much, much cheaper. Why don't we?
Shut up. He's trying to go there. Ashley's coming. He's trying to say, oh, the electricity is more expensive than gas and diesel until we started artificially jacking it up. And not to mention the convenience or whatever, and now we don't have the infrastructure to do it. He's still trying to defend the climate change crap. This guy is a humongous piece of work. But I'm glad he's in there because he's spending $100 million muddying up the field.
There is a national conversation about government waste and fraud. You're talking about a lot of use of taxpayer money, potentially billions from closing these corporate loopholes. I mean, what will you do to protect these dollars and make sure they're efficient?
You know, I think that's a very fair question, Ashley. I really do, because I think if you're going to be the governor and people are going to pay their hard-earned money in taxes you have an absolute responsibility to steward that money carefully.
And he doesn't even know what Gavin Newsom, I haven't paid attention. Gavin Newsom spending. California budget has been up 50% just before the COVID con. More than doubled. Almost 250%, 2.5 times higher in the last 12 years. And we're getting worse government. And this egomaniac thinks he's got the answer. He doesn't even know what the hell, he's admitted he doesn't even know what the hell's going on.
There is a national conversation about government waste and fraud.
He has no idea. He will perpetuate government waste and fraud. Then Ashley peppered him on the, well, you know, you're a $2 billionaire. Now he starts with, oh, I drive a cheap car and I only have one pair of sneakers, and I'll shut up. He spent, to this point, on a failed run for presidency in 2016 and a failed run for governor in 2020, and so far, over $400 million. Telling us how great he is. Which I'm glad, again, I'm glad he's doing it this time, because he, with the others in the Icky Eight, are making it very possible that we will elect a center-right, freedom and liberty type governor in California in 2026. Again, like I said, Matt Mahan, the San Jose mayor, started to do, he's down like 2 or 3 or 4%. The tech bros are going to spend $100 million, and if they're to, hopefully he moves, like Tom Steyer, from 2 or 3 or 4% to 9 or 10 or 12, just further cannibalizing the Icky Yates vote is exactly what we need. Just as long as he doesn't climb above the percentage that Steve and Chad are getting. And I got it, you know, the ones that are locked into Steve and Chad, I'm not trying to change your vote. The smart, strategic, center-right, and freedom liberty types. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to wait probably to the last day, till June 2nd. Whichever one I think needs a vote, to split that vote evenly or get Steve and Chad in the top 2 is going to get my vote. And hopefully with the investigations and with the Supreme Court rulings, and hopefully they pass the Save America Act and stuff, we can start getting some honest elections. At least having some faith that we don't have to do like we did with Trump in 2024. Trump probably won the popular vote 60-40. He probably won it about 55-45 in 16 when he won. This time we don't have to outvote the fraud. We can out-strategize it. Just like the rats did in SD4 in 2022. Don't repeat the mistakes of the past with a strategy that's lost for 30 plus years. But again, look at history and don't crap on what works. The rat showed us how this worked in 2022. We are turning the tables on the rats. We have the golden opportunity. I couldn't have drawn this up any better than what it's worked out a year ago. A little bit of that's luck, but a lot of it's strategy and driving past the hood ornament, as my late father used to say. You get to the, just be smart. Think strategically. And you can win, even against all odds. That'll do it for today. So as we usually say at this time, mandatory you're back here in 23 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid.
All right, all clear. I don't know if you heard that the paid agitators are already starting to demonstrate outside of airports. I'm serious.
No, I
I saw.
heard that, but-
Oh yeah, I saw it. I believe it was in Atlanta. They're already starting demonstrations outside of airports
Do you notice?
now.
Do you know? Did you? If you go look, L.A. All the liberal cities where they got on. Go look at LAX. Alex Michelson put it out. LAX is working fine. It's only in Dallas, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia. It's only in the red cities or red states that this is happening.
Yeah, I don't know. They're setting something up. You know what I mean?
No, they planned this.
Oh yeah.
We got to get our act together and counter all across the board.
Yeah, yeah. And you got your No Kings Days coming up again too. God, man, what a asinine bunch of people.
It keeps life exciting.
I guess, man. All right, Roy, I'll talk to you later.